really cool.
So
It
you're
looks really, really cool.
with the one deck format.
Yeah, or even last Hero Standing. But like looking at Zalae and this matchup here, if Show's playing Zoo, he has a strong edge against Paladin, in my opinion. Unless Paladin gets the perfect start, which it often can fall into, right? Having something as simple as a zombie chow and a shield mini bot stabilizes the board significantly.
Yeah.
If it's handlock, well, this matchup is pretty even, but I give the nod to Paladin.
I'm leaning towards handlock. Just
Because he played it last time.
he played it last time, and he plays it more often, I would say. Like watching his stream and seeing him play a lot, it's he seems to lean more towards handlock.
Sure.
And you've said, and we had a little bit of a discussion yesterday about the strength of Paladin. And
We had a
certain
fight,
matchups.
let's just be honest, man.
We had a little bit of a word scuffle. We'll call it that.
A falling out.
I don't even know if it was a falling out. It was a
Discourse.
friendly fisticuffs of sorts.
What?
I don't know.
Fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs, like a fisticuffs with words. You know what? Never mind.
Is that your safety word?
I was going to say two words. Fisticuffs, Ferdinand.
said
Fisticuffs.
TJ, why are you crying? I said fisticuffs! That's why you're emotional this morning.
Yes, I was.
Well, this is a pretty interesting start. When you see a pass on turn 1, it's like 95% of the time handlock. There is that case where sometimes Zoo starts off poorly, but the tap will most likely indemnify it as handlock.
I even forgot the point that I was going to make. Oh, the strength of handlock against Paladin. I think it's a lot more even than you'd think. You have to be really patient with your removal as a Paladin player to be able to come out on top of this one. There's instances where as a Paladin player you can just straight up win the game.
Yeah, like if you have a quality and you consecrate past everything, and then you have like True Silver Champion, right?
Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's as likely of a scenario as might be thought. So we'll have to see. This seems like, well, I don't know. It's hard to tell right now. There's been some Paladins that have been cutting inequality out of their deck.
But you still have one.
Still have one.
This definitely looks like the slower variant. You have Lay on Hands.
Yeah.
And Sylvanas.
And Sylvanas, yeah.
So it's like these are more control-oriented cards. I think Zalae is also struggling whether or not he feels he can get away playing Muster for battle compared to if it just gets Hellfired next turn and he loses all his momentum and board, as opposed to putting out the Pilot Shredder and then going for more stable board.
I would actually like the Pilot Shredder in that situation a little bit more.
But the curve, TJ.
Well, that would still fit the curve. You can even Cult Master the following turn.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I guess you could.
But this play is still okay, and you're sort of forcing your opponent's hand, saying, if you don't have a way to deal with my creatures.
Oh!
Yikes.
Man. That's so hard to pass up. Quartermaster gives all your Silverhand recruits +2/+2, which means he has 12, 14, 15 damage right now. Also, of course, he kills off the giant, too.
Yeah.
Let me think.
This is one of those instances where it's like, Paladin has the potential to straight up win you a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Quartermaster is
Dang.
pretty strong.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's see all the alternatives. Zalae is gonna he's very slow and patient, so that way he can not get clouded by, immediate emotion.
Yeah.
Because he does have other plays if he wanted to play the Pilot Shredder, but I think this Quartermaster is just too good to pass.
Yeah, he's a very meticulous player.
Like,
And
I mean, Sjow realizes, like, gosh, how did this even happen?
and you see it come off the top too. You're like, oh well.
Right.
What can you do? What can you do?
I mean, that's the dream. The Quartermaster right after the Muster for battle.
Yeah. You're not giving your opponent much time to react. They have one turn to get rid of your tokens, or else Dunskies.
You've got ways to slow it down, though. You do have the Sludge Belcher, which will absorb several of the damage. Now, this is where I want to say the Cult Master can actually do pretty significant work here,
Oh yeah.
but I think Pilot Shredder might also be okay. Because it goes for a more stable board. Because if you play Cold Master, you're playing into Hellfire. So I think Pilot Shredder is...
But how much more stable is Pirate Shredder going to make your board as opposed to being able to draw cards?
I mean, you're only drawing one card, too. That's the thing. Unless you want to trade in both of your 3/3s. Oh.
I would, yeah. It's pretty good.
I was thinking about trading, like, killing off and saving your board. That's why Pilot Shredder would create a pretty decent board with strong power. But he just cashes in immediately.
Yeah. If he had played the Pilot Shredder, that would have been a better choice. Sure. But this way, at least he plays around Hellfire a little bit. This board is not very enticing to Hellfire.
This is quite hilarious. You can't even deal with the Cult Master other than silencing it.
Yeah.
Or a very drastic Shadow Flame.
And if you throw down Sylvanas here, it's just trade, easy. Giving your opponent an easy way to deal with it.
I think it might be a tap into like an owl and then pass.
Ah, gross.
No, that's actually really poor too. Might be owl and Defender Vargas. Oh, that feels so bad too.
Owl.
Actually, you don't need an owl if you don't have any targets worth trading. So you might even tap. We got 10 cards, right? So you have to play something now.
Ancient Watcher is always a safe play.
Ancient Watcher. Are you going to allow your opponent to draw another card? Do you silence it, or do you just taunt up? I guess you don't do anything. You can just actually let this Ancient Watcher sit there.
I would just let it sit there. It might feel enticing to deny more drops from the Cold Master, but...
I'm just scared of Paladin drawing cards.
Yeah.
It gets, like, a Paladin that draws cards is so dangerous.
True, but there's so many high priority silence targets elsewhere in the Paladin deck that might come back to bite you later on. Tyrion. Bolvar.
Nope, Tyrion.
Okay.
Sylvanas.
Bolvar.
Nope. Tyrion and Sylvanas.
Damn.
You Siphon Soul Bolvar.
Fooled
He's
again.
worthy of a Siphon Soul.
No. He's worthy of
Because
maybe...
you need to silence the effect of Tyrion so that way he doesn't get the weapon, but you need to... You can deal with Bolvar with Siphon Soul or Big Game Hunter.
You can just ignore Bolvar. I think Bolvar's in this deck. It's slower. It's a little bit slower.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So then how does Zalae go about this turn here specifically?
Let me think.
Like, I think it's an like, to get through this wall, he does draw another card, but he does have to give up something else unless he plays True Silver Champion. But if he plays True Silver Champion, cards like the Pilot Shredder, he wants to develop so that way it actually starts getting some, like, board presence. And now, also, how many more cards does he need to draw? He's already almost at a full hand. Like, Cult Master already serves a very good purpose.
You don't like Sylvanas?
Sylvanas feels unnecessary until he has like a big wall of giants.
I like Sylvanas because you're going to try and bait out things to better protect your Tyrion that's going to come down in a few turns.
But then he just Shadow Flames. And then you lose. Or even Hellfire. And then it's like Sylvanas did nothing.
That's true.
I mean, now he has 2 Shadow Flames. I mean, there's so many ways that you can deal with Sylvanas already,
Yeah.
like silencing it so it wouldn't have a high impact.
So many possibilities.
Huh.
I think Sjow is also calculating like what he can do with his remaining mana.
Yeah.
So
It's awkward.
yeah, Shadow Flame does mean he's giving up pretty much the rest of the development of his turn, but he can tap.
Yeah. If he Dr. Booms, just too risky of a play.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's one of the better targets against Sylvanas because she can't cleanly trade into it and steal a Dr. Boom. There's a chance that you can steal the Doombots, but there's a weapon already. Consecrate would make it problematic, so
Right.
It's just too risky of a play.
I mean, you can also kill off the Cult Master and play like a small minion to just like have it reasonable, but I think Shadow Flame is the best. And I do think you just tap and let the turn just play itself out. You're at 8 cards, so it's okay.
Yeah. BGH is not really a sensible play because even though Paladins cut Rag now, usually Dr. Boom is added into the deck. BGH is always a safe keep now because of how popular Dr. Boom is.
So now, your opponent just killed off Sylvanas without having to use silence, or even like a big target removal. And I felt like that was, that's just yeah, I'll say it. So just a little wasteful, you know. Like
Yeah.
Sylvanas could have had higher impact against Handlock.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
Versus Pilot Shredder would have effectively done the same thing, but made it more resilient board. I mean, you just, nope. I guess it doesn't really matter because you're going to be developing True Silver Champion eventually.
Yeah, going through 4 turns of a Life
Also,
Justice.
doesn't want to attack and make it cheaper Molten Giant. So I was like, why did he waste that one charge? But it makes sense.
1 charge of Light's Justice wasted.
Well, I mean, you know, more importantly, it's like, you know, the concept of whether or not he wants to lower his health.
Yeah, I think that's way into that decision a little more.
Oh, you know what? He has lethal next turn if his opponent gets careless. If he drops Dr. Boom, he actually dies because of True Silver Champion Consecration. That's 7 plus the 4 from True Silver plus 2 from Consecration.
Zalae is holding his breath and wait, trying to hope that
So many possibilities.
Sjow.
Don't do that, Zalae. Keep your poker face. He's like trying to hold it in. He looks very nervous and stressed.
Yeah, these guys can actually see each other. They are in a Skype call with each other, so they can actually look at each other's reactions to cards and look at each other's faces in between turns. So poker faces are actually the real deal in this scenario.
Excellent move by Sjow, realizing that there is a threat that he could die, so he holds off. And Dr. Boom being drawn looks like it could be powerful. Tyrion is also very powerful too. I think you want to be making a power play for sure this turn.
Yeah, Tyrion, even though it'll most likely just get silenced, it's still...
It needs to get silenced and silenced.
Yeah, without the effect, even without the effect, it's still a 6/6 body, which needs to be addressed.
So, let's see what he gets off this Pilot Shredder. Wow, pretty good.
Yeah, that's very good. Gives him a little protection against AoE. I think that's one of the best 2-drops. Doomsayer. Nat Pagel.
Doomsayer probably wouldn't have done it.
I've gotten Nat Pagel way too many times.
I've gotten a lot of Mana Wraiths lately.
Mana Wraith actually can be really good, but it can also be really bad.
Sums up the card pretty well.
Yeah. It was for a while it was being played in Shamans. Mana Wraith Shaman.
You push for the little bit of damage, right?
Yeah. We've seen
You've already
one
played a Molten Giant.
or
Really?
not. Wow.
Interesting. Okay, so now you silence Tyrion for sure. You don't want to give him that weapon. Or do you even care? Do you care about that weapon?
I think you
do.
care, yeah.
You do.
That's a lot of potential damage.
Well, I was thinking if you could possibly ignore it and just go for like a really big power play with big minions, because he has to use his Ashbringers to swing through it.
Yeah.
But a quality consecration is just too much of a threat. So silencing a Tyrion leaves you 7 more mana.
Dr. Boom. Silence it. Throw them out. Molten Giant in. Dr. Boom.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good play.
The other alternative I was thinking would be to silence the Tyrion, kill the Haunted Creeper and Shadow Flame if you want a really clean board.
Yeah. It was 1 turn away from being able to do some really cool stuff too.
Yeah.
Because Shadow Flaming Sylvanas is also super sick.
Yes, it would be.
Twilight Drake. Okay, Twilight Drake, silence, and then
I'm waiting to see this play because I'm curious. Okay. I think I would have liked to see... Oh, I guess he wanted to get a tap in here while he still can. Three, 4. Nope.
Yep, he's short by a
1.
pretty good margin. Oh, he's short by 1 damage?
Yeah.
How?
He's got True Silver Champion, Consecration, 2 damage on board. Oh, never mind. Just kidding.
No.
What did I okay, yeah.
If he had infinite mana, he could do everything.
Yeah, that's...
And then be one short of lethal.
yeah. I was like thinking that the Quartermaster was
Twitch
already
chat.
on the board. It's like it just magically appeared without even using up mana.
It's okay.
No, but he's actually pretty far off.
So you want to kill off this. Consecration's pretty decent here.
Ooh. Okay, the Sledge Belcher
Yeah.
as well.
I think now it's definitely safe to press in. He would have played Molten Giant number 2.
Yeah, regardless, he's... Well, I guess he wouldn't have... 1 mana Molten Giant is not that much different, so you might as well just push in. Without the Consecrate, doesn't have much burst from his hand, but still, 6 health is not very much health to work with.
Yeah, Sjow needs he needs a taunt.
Has Defender of Argus.
He does have Defender of Argus. He also has a very cheap Mountain Giant that he can place. Shadow Flaming Sylvanas is a very weak play because you could get a 1/1. Twilight Drake.
I wonder.
It doesn't feel very good. You might have to Defender of Argus. So you can play the... but you can't... If you play Defender of Argus, you have to play like a smaller minion in order to get the Shadow Flame off, because it doesn't fit mana-wise. The only thing that fits it was the Zombie Chow. Really weak.
I guess this play is stronger against Equality than the Mountain Giant.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. It could allow you, like in a situation where you steal what would be the point of lethal at this low amount of health. With not as much damage on the board, this play seems a little bit better.
Sylvanas is also one of those creatures where it's scary to use Alder Peacekeeper on it, just because then that means when it dies, it leaves a lot of health on the minion it steals.
Yeah.
Right? If you play Dr. Boom or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay, so back over to Zalae's land. He's still in no threat of dying, but he's trying to figure out if there's a way for him to potentially kill in the next 2 turns, and I don't see it.
Well, he could guarantee a 1/1 steal, but he'd be leaving so much left on the board if he True Silver Champion and then traded in.
Might have to. You do have to deal with it eventually. He's running out of time too. This is there are Death Rattle animations that have to get settled.
It's just gonna Dr. Boo.
Boom. Okay, load up the board.
Wow.
Load up the horses and God bless.
Just throwing it all out there, and you can tell Zalae looks pretty uncomfortable with these lines of play.
So, what now? You can Shadow Flame and then let Dr. Boom's... Ooh, but Dr. Boom's bots might kill you. Oh, I didn't actually think about this. Dr. Boom might actually kill you just with his boom bots. I cannot even begin to fathom the levels of salt that Sjow will have if that ends up happening.
He can flood the board and then Shadow Flame. Like he could Twilight Drake, Zombie Chow, Shadow Flame.
Many possibilities.
Yeah, you could even Shadow Flame the Zombie Chow. Or the Defender of Argus. You attack the 1/2, kill off Dr. Boom, and then Shadow Flame Defender of Argus.
Yeah.
It's pretty reasonable.
And then you're still... That's a very low chance.
So he's going with the opposite play here. He's going to do the same thing. He has to go fast.
Okay. Well, he
Oh,
could die.
boy.
Ooh.
Oh, 3 health. That was very close. And I like this play a lot, actually, because it floats him above Consecration.
You can see his face.
Oh! And, like, that was so close!
Wow.
Oh my god, if he did 1 more damage on the Boombot, he actually could have killed him with Consecration.
1 more damage on the boom bot, or if the other bomb had
Right.
hit even just for 1 damage.
What I love about this play from Sjow is he keeps both taunts alive as high as health as possible.
Yep.
Very, very good puzzle here from Sjow to figure out an optimal way to put damage back on his opponent. If he gets Ragnaros next turn, that is 8 plus
Be
the
23
13,
damage.
that's 21 damage?
Oh, well, 8?
Plus the 15. Oh, it's 23. You're right. 23 damage. It's not going to kill him,
No.
but it's close.
It's very close.
It's close.
A
And
dark bomb off the top would be enough.
here's the question, too. Do you go for it so that way he can't tap? It doesn't really matter, though. You can't kill him. This is just, like, so unideal on so many levels for Zalae.
Well,
Sjow needs to not tap. He needs to draw into a heal of some sort. Draxus.
it's not a Draxus.
Second big game hunter.
And now that his one of his taunts is gone, I mean, he does have a way to continuously build a wall here. He's got the Sphere Protector and a lot of big targets to use that on.
I think it's ragtime for sure. And
Yeah.
ton of
And that Sylvanas is still problematic because even though it got Aldor Peacekeeper,
It's all about equality here.
oh!
Zalae actually was not looking at his screen when that happened, and he looks really calm about it. So.
Yeah.
Looks like he does end up having it. And Sjow almost jumped out to a 2-0 lead, but seemed to fall just short at the finish line. No heal ends up costing him, and Paladin does end up getting the win.
Okay. Well, you were right. Equality is a big card. He needed it at that precise moment, though. or
Right.
else,
I mean, he didn't have equality for a long time.
That's very
so.
true. He could have drawn in a lot of points. There was a lot of cards that set dead in his hand. Lay on hands, the second Paladin Shredder, second Quartermaster as well.
Sure, sure.